So this video is about a debate that I hear about a lot. So, do you want to take notes by hand or by computer? So I've definitely looked into this and a lot of the research behind it, and I found some interesting conclusions. The purpose of taking notes is to use your brain and to stay focused and to summarize the information as you go. One problem with computers is that, one, they usually have the internet, and that can be distracting to a lot of students, myself included. There's always a lot of fun things to look at on the internet, so there's that topic that comes up a lot with taking notes for computers, and I don't think that that should be discounted. But really what a lot of the cognitive science is saying about note-taking is that when we have a computer, we can type almost as fast as people can speak. And I talked about in the Get It Down Notes video that we wanted to summarize as we go. We feel that writing everything down is work, and it's often not difficult for your hands, and you are trying to speed through, but you're not condensing the information as it's presented to you. And what our brains really want to do as they're learning is clump and chunk. And we'll talk about this more in honing our notes, but it wants to take all these ideas and make them into kind of clusters. And so we don't want to just write everything down, even though that feels like that should be the best option, especially if, like Jessica said, the lectures are really a valuable resource. But we want to do it with a good strategy. And so just writing everything down and not allowing our brains to process the information as people are speaking to us is actually a disadvantage. And so between handwriting and computers, handwriting really does force you, because you can't write that fast, most people, unless you're using shorthand. It forces you to really reflect on what you need to write down, and it makes you slow down, whereas computers are much faster. And I don't think that that is necessarily linked to just writing stuff down. There is a way I think you can create a strategy around synthesizing information with a computer. You can summarize, that can be your purpose, but it's something that would have to be intentional and that you would have to practice. So if you really like computers more than handwriting, or if you have some type of learning difference, or writing is very difficult, it is very valuable to work on how to summarize and not just dictate a lecture on your computer. And then how are you going to block distractions, right? Like, are you going to use a distraction blocker? Will you turn off your internet and just use Word? There are a lot of advantages to using a computer. If you're honing your notes, you're not necessarily having to rewrite everything. You can move stuff around, you can add things in, so it's not black and white over if it's better to handwrite or can use a computer. I would say for quantitative, so like math and science and maybe econ classes, there is a fair bit of research that shows it is better to handwrite your notes in class because you're drawing so many figures, which is very difficult and time consuming to do on a computer. Unless you have some kind of tablet, it is better to do your Get It Down notes in terms of handwritten notes. And I can see that. I've done formulas on a Word doc, and it's very clunky sometimes. For honing your notes, a lot of students like to rewrite them. I have no preference in terms of that because it's about creating your own method for doing it. I have a lot of students who do things on a computer. There's also, we'll talk about mind maps or thinking maps. Those are often now very easy to do on an iPad or on a computer, and you can add it and they look very nice. So it's not a computer versus handwriting, it's that there should be some strategic thinking around what do you want to get out of this, and am I getting out what I'm putting in? So that was my takeaway from the kind of controversy about note-taking, what format to put it in, and I hope that helps. If you have any questions, email me, jessica@diyhomework.com.